Is that this was a terror attack in a prosperous part of central Israel, in a gas station right outside the city of Kochav Yair. What we know thus far is that the perpetrator was shot and killed while in the act. In one of his sites of shooting, he drove his car from around 5 different locations. He's a 35-year-old Israeli citizen from the north of Israel, a Muslim Arab, and he has been identified. And just as I was about to join you, Nadia, we heard that a second perpetrator or possibly an accomplice has been arrested. I don't yet have any identification about this figure. As you said, one man has been killed. One woman has been gravely injured. She was shot in the upper part of her body while sitting in her car. And there are 3 other people wounded in lesser fashion. Of course, while we're talking about one of the victims dead so far, the fact of this terror attack and the fact that it's perpetrated by a citizen of the state, so it doesn't involve any illegal, in entry into Israel, not a Palestinian. This is shaking up the country quite a bit, shaking up the government that keeps promising security and failing to deliver. And we had one of these just surreal scenes right outside the gas station where this terror attack first started, when the Minister for National Security, Itamar Ben-Gvir, a man himself convicted in his past 13 times of terror associations and of hate crimes, stood where the crime had taken place and declared that if the terrorist had not been killed by the police, that he would have had him executed. So extremely violent sentiments, really not quite legal sentiments from a government minister, and we have yet to hear any clear directional statements from the prime minister or from the police, to be honest.
Okay, so that's what's been happening today in Israel, Noga. Take us, though, to something that happened yesterday in the West Bank. A Palestinian boy, a young child, a 7-month-old, was killed by the Israeli army. What are we learning about the circumstances of what happened there?
That's right, Nadia. You're speaking about Sam Fad Abu Haikal, a 7-month-old baby who was shot and killed in his mother's arms while his father had stopped at the instructions of Israeli soldiers in broad daylight. So actually Friday, I believe, in broad daylight, shot and killed his father, who was moderately wounded, and his mother, who was also wounded and is in hospital. His father said that the soldiers ordered him to stop, that he did, that he put his hands visible on top of the driving wheel, and that a soldier simply walked up and shot in cold blood at a family that he could see was a family because it was broad daylight. Shockingly, I have to say, no soldier has been arrested for this. No one has been detained, although we know that the soldiers involved in this incident were identified because we have their explanation via the Israel Defense Forces spokeswoman. We know that they said they felt that they were under threat, that they were being menaced by this car. I have to add that in the same 24-hour period, an Israeli soldier was shot in a friendly fire incident. 3 Lebanese service members, including one senior officer, were shot and killed by Israeli fire in southern Lebanon. All of these have been acknowledged by the Israeli army to be mistakes or cases of mistaken identity, but it is giving us a very clear taste of what the chief of staff of the Israeli army meant when he has warned the cabinet, Prime Minister Netanyahu's cabinet, numerous times in recent weeks that the army is stretched so thin that it risks imploding in on itself. We're seeing simply a rash of fatal errors day after day.